One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put y'all faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Run the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make a money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on cargo slave ship. What the fuck he do for blacks in his administration? I'm waiting, patient like a saint. Black, Hispanic, Native, they hate your ass the same. Hate Christ in their image, paint you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say he hate. African soul niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the streets. Put you in the cell toilet connected to the sink. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dream. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lie sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a child. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate about my brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under your honor, and he murdered by them and got a hug from your honor. That's the way out for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priests bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, ranking order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ICE agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game, put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves. Chose by the Lord, we could never be the same. Soon as they born, the wicked go astray. They left the truth, they wasn't with us anyway. Niggas weak, they just saying anything to be truthful. We don't want no cowards anyway. Look, coronavirus, that's a plague. You don't get too much sleep when you waking up the dead. First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church. Came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Damn right, I'm a UPK nigga. Straight out of one West, no contest. We the best to the niggas that's living, trying to contend with the stress. Going through the test, no access, cause you repressed slaves. Niggas is dying off in waves. Living in dirt, now it's a grave. Niggas cross-talk through the crosswalk or the white chalk over the bodies of roads that you paid. Americans killing us, saying they fearing us. Put the drugs in the hood, now my niggas delirious. Put a gun in my face, all because of my race. Click, boom, flash, put some Skittles and murder my ass. Like a sheep to the slaughter, heart beating harder and harder. Baptized with these words, never dipping in water. So now we pray to the Father, give strength to the Father that's looking for the marauder. That's fucking taking our daughters, nigga, it's wartime. Lights up, nigga, showtime. Got the green light on that ass, yeah, go time. Either boot up, shut up, but get your ass up, cause we ain't got time to be playing this all fucked up America. Heaven for the thief, hell for the slave, reaping what you sow, meaning giving back what you gave for a clean slate. You try to imitate, and you was always fake. America, every city, state, this is your fate. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America.
Turn on the timeline, giving the rhythm to expose the intricacies of the vibe. Doing my ain't shit, but getting lit is a pastime. So in a minute, I'ma pass out. I hope you get it. If you didn't, you can crash flying. Kinda simple if you feel it, past your last line. But it will confuse a bad mind. A damn shame. That's the exact thing. Gonna get your ass fried. Bombs from the sky, rich devil lullaby. Then the nigga fly. Hope you got an alibi. Bombs from the sky, rich devil lullaby. Damn, the missiles high. I can see him from the parking lot. Living finna ball out. Devils finna fall out. All out warfare, nightmares in the big house. They murdered us for years and thinking shit won't gonna turn around. Pride never learned that this motherfucker burns down. Yelled in them streets. Told them to breach. All of you angels bring woe to this beast. You rule for a time, but we play for keeps. I pray to my Father, bring woe to this beast. Remember them times we hung on them trees. All of you nations bow down to your knees. Remember them ships, they brought us some fleets. Fuck they Apollo, bring them the heat. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, whoa, to America. Whoa, 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 to America. Whoa, 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 to America.
God is going to destroy this empire, man. You about to see famine in this place. You think them fires in California is bad? That's just the beginning of what the Lord is about to do. Because you've been evil to the Lord's people. You've been wicked to the Most High's children, man. You've been destructive to the 12 tribes of Israel. Let me tell you something, black man. You got to put on your strength now, man. Put back on your strength and might, black man, because your day is coming. Your day is coming because the Lord is going to bring judgment on this earth.
Y'all ain't ready yet, man. Here it come right now. Prepare yourself. Here comes the boom. Here come the boom. Look who just stepped in the room. Got soldiers in every direction. As long as they stepping in tune. I been all black with the groom. Watching Babylon fall to doom. Lord, know I'm ready, and I know that you know that her love is deadly, but I am immune. These niggas talking rude to whom? That's a spot, you'll be moving soon, and you'll be leaving shortly. Still walking with them angels, yeah, they still enforcement. Got a whole lot of zeal, I can't get it off me. Plus I'm winning like I got a blue ribbon on me. He ain't one wet, bitch, I beg your pardon. See, I knew these niggas like to do that pillow talking, so that's why I bought a Glock to the slumber party. Got it off the dust. I just began to it pretty much. That brotherhood of weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. If it ain't one West nigga, hush. I don't wanna hear it, keep your tone down. Had a couple complications, but it's on now. So you can kill it, speculation, bitch, I'm thrown down. And if you want a conversation, set his zone down. What he say, I ain't hear him, I done zoned down. Can't walk, this a low mouth. I'm 44, I'm on another level with it. These niggas never listen, so I let the devil get his ass. I try to tell him, I'm a rebel nigga. Better be careful if you ever think I'm stepping in my path. Cause it ain't no game. Stay in your lane, now I'm playing twisted metal with his ass. Got it off the gut. I just began to it pretty much. That brotherhood of weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. Revenge still my main bitch, I think I got a crush. And she know that I got some sick shit inside me. But you know it should be K versus everybody. Got the time, move the buttons like you Teddy Riley. Now my race through the track like a Ricky Bobby. Got it off the dust. I just began to it pretty much. That brotherhood of weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. Gotta keep it with me, it's a must. Got it off the dust. I just began to it pretty much. That brotherhood of weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. If it ain't one West nigga, hot. You heard what he said. If they want West nigga hush, watch your goddamn mouth, man. turn, sucker. And y'all niggas out there, y'all lukewarm. Y'all can never be us, cause we hot. Burn.
And Native Indians, we are the Israelites. Can I get an amen? Amen and hallelujah. The ISUPK are the real priests and prophets in the earth today. Listen to them. Amen. I'm not even fit to teach this Bible, and I've taught it wrong for so long. Just listen to the priests of the ISUPK. Y'all hear me? We all just need to get in all black and start our 90 days, because Christianity isn't the way.
Yes, Pastor.
Now look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, visit ISUPK.com and find the school nearest you.
Visit ISUPK.com and find the school nearest you.
I'm going to start right now. White Terry. Shalom.
All right, clap it up. Clap it up. All right, shalom, y'all. Some y'all to the brothers, y'all Shamar some y'all to the sisters. We are the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, established in 1969, 1 West on the 25th Street, Harlem, New York. We are led by Commander General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other organization. Israel, this goes for you too, TikTok. Pay your tithes. Pay your tithes. Go to ISUPK.com right now, get that settled. Contact the school near you. We got the Lord's, what is it, 57? Going up on 57th annual Passover coming up April 4th. Houston, Texas, man. Texas. Shout out to Rapid City, South Dakota. And anybody that's joining us online, shalom, brother. Shalom. All right. Shout out to anybody that's joining us on online, on TikTok, on the StreamYard, on YouTube, on Facebook, social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to ask in the chat or come off mic if we got those capabilities. This is Captain's class, scripture breakdown. I'll be holding it down for Priest and Captain 10,000 Baramath, and or Priest and also 5,000 Zaquan, until one of them get here. I'm Priest and also 1,000 among the bar. So any questions, feel free to fire them off in the class, at home, online. Otherwise, we're going to get into some stories. That's right. There's a lot of turmoil going on, man. Everything's starting to get mixed up and it's ramping up. And you could make the argument that problems have always existed, just with technology right now. We got the easier way of logging it all and viewing it on camera and getting the recordings of it. And that is definitely true to an extent. Nevertheless, no matter how you try to cut it, even if we're just now having the capabilities to document and observe everything a little bit more easier and in real time, the fact that the shit is still going down. And we're seeing a people who has been in power for a very long time getting extremely stressed, getting extremely spread thin, getting their whole world messed with by their own people, man. They are experiencing a dense bout of white on white crimes. The tariffs, the deportations, it's causing a lot of mixed feelings, because as much as these people hated us being around, hated us taking the jobs that they don't want anyway, they're realizing it's a lot harder to function in this economy without our cheap labor, without us being exploited. It's a lot harder to live as comfortable as they've been used to. So let's bring out our story on ICE first, Baba Kashaf. And then the brothers in Mexico too who are protesting. Shout out to Issachar. Shout out to Ayar. There's a lot going on, and you know, they're some of the dumbest solutions. They think it's just about the economy. It's affecting the economy, but these are just symptoms that they're experiencing, and that doesn't really address the heart of the issue. And nobody ever said that white privilege wasn't going to require elbow grease, even for the lower class citizens. Just because they got to work hard too and lift themselves up by the bootstraps, and the student loans and the health bills, or the medical bills, I should say. You know, them getting screwed on big pharmacy also, the tax brackets. You know, woe with me for being a blue collar, you know, middle class family, man. You know, having to work as hard as I do, and everybody else is complaining about not. Everybody else is placing the blame on other nations when it's rightfully attributed to the issues that they caused. It's a tough thing to wrap your head around when you haven't had to experience white people or Edomites. Salaki, can we say that? All right. When you haven't had to experience our oppressor, from our vantage point, it's easy to make that claim that you can't just blame everybody for your problems. You're not the one who had to deal with them on this level to gain access to the resources, housing, education, medical services. Getting redlined, getting sent to the back of the list, to the back of the line, getting put to the bottom of the list, getting your name completely checked off. You didn't have to face those, though you'd have to fight those battles, face those quarrels. And they weren't doing that expressly against you. Now, there was classism also involved. So if blue collar America wants to fight against, I don't know what you necessarily call the upper class, but I guess just the upper class society, upper class America, that's just an issue between white people showing bias against other white people. We're not the ones who created those banking systems, those insurance agencies, what are they called? Well, I guess that's still part of banking, the stock market, to create all of these financial problems that America is experiencing today. We're not the ones who set this system up. They are. Right. So when we talk about how systematic racism has affected and oppressed our people, and we can show historical validation for that, to say that we got no right or it's delusional to cast blame on other people. And here's the other part about it too: cast blame on other people and not coming up with solutions to these problems. That's the part that they're not understanding. They're not part of those conversations that we're having behind the doors about solving the issues that we're facing today. We have those problems. We address those issues head on too. So it's nothing that's being swept under the rug on our side, but it's problems that people don't want to be realistic on their side of the fence about. So now this whole ICE thing, immigration, or the deportation, I should say, that is one of these key factors into how the economy is going to work. And then the social friction between the people. How do you expect a people whose land this was naturally? We didn't have to force anybody out to get this. We didn't have to unalive whole families, whole villages, whole communities, whole generations. We didn't have to wipe nobody off the face of the earth to get this land. You know, we cut some trees down. We hunted and trapped some animals. And we messed around with agriculture and farming. And we built our own civilizations. And it didn't come off the neck of somebody else, of another people. We didn't have to do that. And then when we open our doors, as benevolent and gracious as we are, hosts, when we open up our doors to these devils, that's exactly what they did in return to gain their advantages. And that's what Cain was cursed with. That was like before that. That's what the serpent in the garden was cursed with. Cain adopted that spirit. Well, I can't say adopted, but that same spirit was on Cain. So we talk about how these people live and how we trace this back to the Bible. It's not, we're not shooting in the dark here. It's not pin the tail on the donkey. We're not going about this blindfold. There's historical markers that connect these spirits and these peoples from thousands of years ago all the way to today. All right, so Slocky, let's get those stories going.
He says, I was running and thank the Lord I was able to call my wife and tell her to open the door because I was being chased. He says, I was leaving for work when 4 vans came up on me, one in the front and another behind me. They tried to box me in. He says he managed to drive back home, jumping out of his truck and running, leaving behind his key, wallet, and cashier's check for rent. Since then, Jose and his family have been too afraid to leave their apartment.
It's like you got somebody taking a battering ram to your door. And now those look like they were wearing police uniforms. I thought they were supposed to be ICE agents. I've been seeing a lot of videos of so-called ICE agents wearing police the police badges and shit, the police Velcro patches on their vests and on their armor. I thought this was supposed to be a completely separate entity, and they are hiring like crazy for it too. They are trying to recruit, and now a lot of times, just from the videos that I've seen lately, you're getting a lot of Hispanics and blacks. You're getting a lot of blacks and Hispanics that are joining that ICE brigade.
I guess, sir, if I could. I saw a video a couple of days ago of an ICE agent actually detaining a police officer because he was Hispanic. The ICE agent was a so-called white man, of course, but he detained a police officer, someone else that came that was supposed to protect and serve the country. Salagi.
That is wild. And that's, again, this is a mess that these devils created. And they're trying to clean it up. It's like spilling your cup of coffee on the table and trying to clean it up with a goddamn weed whacker. Like it's completely unnecessary the way that they're going about it. And over conflating the issues. And how it's backfiring on them. To me, that's one of the most beautiful things about it, because now their citizens are feeling some of that heat of like they can't live without us. They can't. It's like a Kananya.
Salakia, sir, and you don't see like in these videos, you don't see them chasing Palestinians around
at all.
You don't see them chasing like Chinese people. You know, they still working on green cards in America. You don't see them chasing them around. But it's always our people. That lets you know that they're showing you who the real enemy is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who they're concerned about, at least. Who they got their attention on. And that's I've heard kind of some stories of, supposedly, allegedly, they had detain some Ukrainians and things like that. But it's not at this rate. It's not at this rate where they're chasing them down the block, beating their door down with a battering ram. They ain't taking it that serious with them. Slocky, continue with the video. That was it of the video? All right. And then I bring up what was the protest in Mexico. Because now the food, all right, so the agriculture down there, you know, these brothers came up here with their skill sets, their knowledge of farming and agriculture, their ability to turn that out, or turn that around, their turnaround time on the harvest. Absolute professionals at what they do, right? And their agility, their heat regulation, their stamina, their just raw strength and speed and agility and precision, hand-eye coordination, all this. That they cannot just replace. Like there was a whole infrastructure built there that they're just trying to wipe off the map, and they don't have any system to replace that. They don't have enough workers volunteering, especially at the rates that these brothers were getting paid for. But when they tried having, like, I've seen a couple of videos of some Edomites trying to do the same field work that these Israelite brothers and sisters were doing, but the same field work. Now, to their defense, and Salaki 10 men above me for even trying to offer defense for these devils, they just haven't been doing it for the past 400 or 500 years. To have that really kind of ingrained. All right, the brother's back. All right. To really have those skill sets ingrained, to be able to chuck them watermelons, you know, passing them down the line, chucking them into the truck, filling up those dump trucks full of watermelons and potatoes and cabbages and whatever other kind of vegetation and fruits and vegetables that they're picking through. They can't stand out there all day. The physical strain of the constant hustling of reaching and picking and storing, the back and forth of it. They can't regulate the heat like that. Even if they got all the visors to protect their skin from the sun and the elements, they can't. Their biology, their body just doesn't work like that. It can't handle that rapid work environment, that workflow. And it was a sad damn mess seeing them try to attempt it. And Captain DeBar was telling me about how y'all would do that too. I don't know if Slack, you're trooping the thought. I don't know if you were out there with him too, but he was telling us stories about how I don't know if he took a job or some shit like that. About how he was loading up watermelon trucks and
Comic-Con, yes. In Birmingham, meet him.
Yeah.
Brother
All right, yeah.
Dixieland Produce.
How easy is that?
Shit.
Lickety split, just
try and load like 5,000 watermelons.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then like, even though the truck drivers always felt some type of pity,
mm-hmm.
and they will always give us like each like $150 or $130 or something like that. That shit still was salami from my.
How old were y'all when y'all were doing that?
When we was doing that, I was 21.
All right.
So the bar was literally 18, and my other brother, he was 20.
All right, so spry young man, full of energy, hitting the fields. You can't replace that. And again, a whole infrastructure that we had built up. You can't just sub us out for the B team. And Cap was saying how, again, the speed that you guys had to keep up to get that done efficiently.
Maintain a certain
yeah.
And it was like sometimes to the point that like we'll have like 2 people there by us, like throw water on us.
Just to cool y'all down. Man.
It was that crazy.
Yeah, they don't have robots replacing us in the fields like that. Nah. There's no way. And it's not like they had set up those huge laboratory farms, indoor farms and things like that for robots to be positioned to throw on a conveyor belt and just replace man-made talent. But again, their people are not going to step in either to take those jobs, especially at those wages. So now in Mexico, I don't want to say it's because that now they've got too much food, but the cost, they're not getting as much per yield, per harvest as they would have been making up here. So now they're protesting in Mexico because of the lowered costs of produce. Play the video, look on.
En México, así como unos labios por la piel. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, yo defiendo mi tierra, no me dejo de nadie, yo cuido a los míos, mi raza se aferra. Soy mexicano, esa es mi bandera, yo la levanto por donde quiera. Así se siente México, así como unos labios por la piel. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, yo defiendo mi tierra, no me dejo de nadie, yo cuido a los míos, mi raza se aferra. Soy mexicano, esa es mi.
Where cost of living was already cheaper, and then they came up here for that financial opportunity because that dollar went a lot farther in Mexico than that peso.
That's right.
But now everything is oversaturated, watered down. They don't have the same resources and opportunity. And what comes with poverty? Crime. If we don't have work like this, honest work to support our families on, it's gonna be cocaine, it's gonna be fentanyl, it's gonna be opioids, it's gonna be marijuana, it's gonna be extortion, it's gonna be human trafficking, just so they can wage another war on Mexico and Venezuela and Colombia and Chile to again fight battles based on problems that they incubated. They're the ones that set this shit up. There was an argument that some devils was trying to make online. A brother had posted a video. It was a brother who was holding our oppressor accountable. And how would I say, giving positive reinforcement to impoverished black males that they are not lazy. And that, in fact, all these other nations round about us who are trying to paint us in that color and pin that stain on us, they're, in fact, the lazy population. So now, to fix the problem that they started, they have to cause a war with us. So they gotta deport us. They gotta impoverish us. They gotta turn us back to a life of crime, just so that they can reinvigorate their war on drugs and invade South America. For their greed, for their lack of I don't know, I guess options like goddamn, the land of opportunity, you can't come up with nothing better but more war. Did they run out of oil in the Middle East? I'm not exactly sure which. I know that there's oil in I think Venezuela and Brazil had large deposits reported. So you know they got to get that. And then the president of Mexico too. President of Mexico, I believe, is a small hat. If anything, just to be stereotypical, the last name like Scheinbaum, yeah, I think we know what direction that's gonna go in. I just want to look this up real quick. So Claudia Scheinbaum, preceded by children, parents. Yeah, parents, her father, Carlos Scheinbaum Yoselevitz. Yeah. So they've got a foreign entity who isn't doing anything to solve, the issues of their constituents, of their community, of the community that she would essentially be responsible for down there. I can only imagine what kind of luncheons that they've had with Trump, but none of it seems to point in any upward spiral for our people here. It's getting to the point where, like, God forbid you're Hispanic walking around in America. Like on paper, my last name is Hodge, so I kind of go under the radar. If I were to use my father's last name, Rivera, I might need to stay at one of y'all houses for a little bit. God forbid they catch wind of that. And again, I'm documented, and there's a lot of cases too where these brothers are documented citizens, but and they'll get released, but upon the initial reaction or the initial interaction between them, it's guilty until proven innocent. So they get harassed, they get chased down, they get detained, and then they find out that there was an American citizen, or there was just the wrong person completely, and then they get released after. I mean, some of these cases are taking weeks and months. It's a very irresponsible way to go about it. But again, taking a weed whacker to the coffee spill, it's unnecessary, and it's immature, and it's low class. Low intelligence. They have to resort to some of these methods. But that's the people that we're dealing with here. Almost and I mean, well, again, these other cultures get respected for having their culture in a foreign land too. But one of the advantages that they've had is, again, they were able to keep their culture and their identity intact the entire time. So as much as they're getting rocks thrown at them by other white kids while on their way to school, and victimized by the police in the neighborhoods on a dark and stormy night when they're walking by themselves in a dark alley, they still knew their ancestry. They kept their family names unless they chose to assimilate. We didn't really have those options. The boarding schools that the Native Indians had to go through, that they were oppressed on too. Their whole identity had to get modified. It's almost getting to the point where like being Hispanic here is damn near illegal. And then they want to make the argument of having to come here, through the proper channels. We've been here the whole time. Before that wall was put up, we were here. Before the naturalization process was established in the courts and the governments, we were here. No, that's not the one I was looking for. It's like let's move on to the next story here. Good.
Got a quick scripture to go with that last story.
By all means.
It's Lamentations chapter 4, verses 17 and 18. Salakia. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
That's an excellent precept to bring out, because like now you're going to try to go through the courts. That's going to take how many more years and how many more thousands of dollars to go through, their legal justice system to try to get back into a land for them to legally oppress you now? Like were they just oppressing us illegally before? What was Guantanamo Bay about? Another scripture, where is it? Let me get the curse for the serpent.
Kind of one kind.
These people are diabolical in how they're trying to run this. And from their perspective, like this is one of the only moves that they can make. They got to try to eradicate everybody so that they can repaint the narrative. One of these the arguments was we're all getting the short end of the stick. We're all getting lied to in school. We're all getting manipulated in the media. We're all getting fed the same poison, which on the surface, a lot of that is true. Except for, all right, so just circumstantially, except for example, what's being taught in schools. 1 + 1 is not the argument here. The capital of Wisconsin, that's not up for that. That's not the complaint. We never got taught in school in history class, and maybe they did this in your guys' generation. What grades are y'all in? 7th and 9th grade. I don't know, at one point they might get into this kind of topic, but when they go over, for example, the abolition of slavery, in our history books, I don't remember them ever mentioning how Lincoln had no desire to actually free the slaves, except for later on the fact that it was to keep the Union intact. And that's the only reason why he ended up doing it, because if he could have kept the Union intact without having to free the slaves, he would have done that too. That wasn't in the history books, but it is in your books. That's in your books? Your teacher said that, but it's in your history books. That is amazing. I never heard that in school. I also got expelled from school a couple of times. So maybe I missed some of those lessons in between. Maybe they cover that later on, but I don't remember that in our history classes. But that's readily available information. And I think because it's out there now and publicly sourced, or publicly available, I should say, you almost have to put it into the books to avoid any kind of scrutiny in your curriculum. But they're trying to muscle their way out of having to include certain aspects of history into the curriculum. There is going to come a point, because I've already heard some of the arguments, that the transatlantic slave trade was immigration. It wasn't a forced event. It was voluntary. And if that's just the talk around town, people like the parents, your average Joe is trying to manipulate the history. What do they say about whoever wins the wars? They get to rewrite the history. So after they kick everybody out, subdue everybody, and enforce their own narrative, sooner or later, we're not going to have this stuff taught in schools. They also don't want their little white lily babies to learn about this stuff either, that the crimes that their people have committed. They want to take that out of school curriculum as well. The whole slavery, the slave trade, Slovakia. They want to take the slave trade out of it as well, because they don't want their little babies to constantly hear about how messed up their people were. They don't want the Trail of Tears in there, because it's not just how they went to a foreign land, bought all these all these bodies, shipped them over here, put them to work. There's crimes that they committed on this soil too, prior to the shipping events. So there's a whole lot that they'd rather sweep under the rug so that they can avoid having these very uncomfortable and unpopular conversations that we just don't forget. I'm never going to let them forget what they've done. I'm not going to let their kids forget what they've done. I'm not going to let their kids forget what they've done. I'm not going to let my kids let their kids forget what their kids have done. It's incumbent on us to teach the next generation our actual history, so that they can spot when they try to fine tune everything and try to polish that turd, try to make everything nice and presentable and sophisticate the whole human trafficking concept.
Sir, if I could.
Good.
What you're saying is so heavy, because whenever we ask our generations behind us to just forget, do what our oppressor tell us to do, and just forget and move on, and just try to be the best American you can be. What that do is that put us in the sleep that Barack Obama put us in.
Yeah.
The sleep that Joe Biden put us in. And it stops us from profiling the person that we really need to be profiling as a people. Slucky.
No, that's an excellent point. The water, it's that kind of lullaby that we need to put our kids up on game for, put our women up on game for too, so that they don't get seduced by. Because what was Barack Obama offering to people? Pretty much the ability to do whatever you want. That was kind of the reward. That was the carrot on the end of that stick for the donkey. And a lot of people just voted for him, not because of his policies or nothing, but just because he was supposedly a brother on the surface. I know I did. I only voted for Barack Obama because he had melanin. That was it. And that he did more damage to the Black and Hispanic and Native Indian communities than some of his predecessors. It's like you got the scripture about the serpent. This was a curse put on that serpent in the garden for how his people was gonna live. It's like an ignorant.
Sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 15.
It's like in 1 second. Did you have the scripture or did you have a question? Yeah, the scripture. It's like, let's let the young man read it.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee.
Enmity.
Enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed, her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
Keep going.
Verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thee, thou.
Salaki, this might not be the scripture that I thought about. About where oh no, it's like verse 14. There we go.
Verse 14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this.
Now, done what? You know, what are we blaming this serpent for? Since nobody wants to, everybody's got an argument about casting blame and making sure that it's on the right people, and stop being lazy about it. What is this serpent responsible for having done? Trying to run game on that system, man. Trying to run game on that system, trying to destroy our way of life and replace it with his. That serpent was trying to get us to live like him, following his practices, his traditions, his people's social practices and customs. By telling us that our way of life was wrong. Yeah, America is done. Shell on TikTok, America is done. Slacker reply.
The serpent is the white man.
Serpent, absolute. Now, and people make the argument, well, was there like an actual Caucasian person in the garden? No, that's not what we're saying. But that spirit that was on that serpent, that lived on. That was still, that was on Cain and that was on Esau. And if you look at the characteristics of the serpent in the garden and this devil today, who was that great dragon, that serpent of old, we can get into that another breakdown of Revelations, just to again to qualify the statement of that being the same spirit from the garden as on these people today. They're just looking at how they live. Look at the curses on the serpent, on Cain, and on Esau. Look at what they were cursed with. Look at what they were blessed with. And you can't tell me that is not the so-called white man today. It's like you keep reading.
Thou art cursed above all cattle.
So now we're not cursing a reptile or an amphibian over a mammal, over a bovine creature. These aren't literal animals that's being talked about here in Genesis. Keep going.
And above every beast of the field, upon thy belly shall thou go, in thy dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
That's talking about how they're gonna live, their methodology. They do it through dirt. Now that's just a euphemism today of criminal activities. Their way of life is through deception, sabotage, lies, extortion, manipulation, stealing. That's the way that our oppressor has gained all of their successes throughout the whole world, throughout all their history, all their inhabited lands. Now they had to unalive the originals. They had to unalive all the indigenous of those lands, push them off in the corners, beat them back to the point where they had the freedom now to kind of stretch their legs. And so now if you go to places like the Netherlands, Sweden, it's so peaceful there. The air is so clean. The water is so fresh. No pollution, because they killed everything under the sun to where they ain't got no enemies. Now they can just focus on their health care and their education and healthy foods and low emissions, cleaning up the water, clean, healthy living. Now they can do all that. America, I mean, even in Europe too, they still fighting with everybody. They still warring with everybody. They can't settle down yet. They're still up in arms. They're still living off that dust. And now, so now those Swedens and like the Netherlands and I can't remember if it was like Dutch or something like that, but like you got a lot of those European countries where low crime rates, drug usage, but now you got places like Amsterdam where damn near everything's legal. So prostitution, drugs, you can use openly because they got like clinics and they got they have some safeguards in place for like overdoses, but there's more looser laws as far as like narcotics and drug use. In public, they got safe spaces to use it at too in some of those districts. But that's as the result of having to wipe out the original inhabitants, winning all their little local wars and skirmishes, so that now they can pamper themselves off of the spoils of all the wars. And again, a lot of those countries directly had a hand in, benefited from the slave trade. So they were given such an advantage and head start. So the audacity for them to try to tell us, you just got to work harder. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps. We're all being faced with the same plights by the same people. It's ludicrous to say, after 400 or 500 year head start, ready, set, go. They've been off. They're not starting from the starting line. But again, you look at the characteristics of this devil, these serpents, Cain, the Bible's and in history's original unaliver, and Esau, the first recorded Caucasian. You look at the way that they live their lives in the Bible, what was spoke about them and recorded here, and how they live their lives out here in the world, and how they interact with people, how they affect their misgivings, their animosity. Cain never got over that sacrifice that was not accepted. He took that one personal, and that had nothing to do with Abel. Esau never got over giving up his birthright. And these devils today, man, they have not gotten over they have not gotten over being subpar. They have not gotten over not being God's chosen people, and they have not gotten over being exposed for being criminals, for being liars, and for being held accountable for their crimes. They better take that person. Now, because again, it's not for no reason. And the worldwide effects that this is having, that their involvement, their presence has had. I mean, it's got every country, it's got every nation up in arms. Nobody gets along with them. Nobody wants to get along with them. They got to make peace treaties and with them whatnot, just out of the sake of the threat of war. But don't nobody like these people. Their own people are starting to get tired of their own people, and they're exposing. And that's always kind of the crappy part when we talk about their history and their identity, and people look at us like we crazy for it. But then one of their own people steps out, makes a video about it, talks about the same thing that we teach in our classes. Then light bulbs start going off. Let me get Obadiah, chapter 1, start at 7. Actually, Slacky, hold Obadiah. Let me get Ezekiel 33 first. 33 and 15. So let's get the story about that sister who got assaulted. Because these are things that happen all the time. So now they're trying to deport, and It's not like this is a new thing either. They've been trying to deport Hispanics for the longest. You know, it's definitely coming. It's becoming more of a, you know, public showcase than it had in past times. But this certainly isn't anything new. But they're, again, the way that they're going about it now, making such a display of it. Are people being assaulted on college campuses, in sundown towns, in sporting events? That's nothing new. But we just got the ability to keep better track of some of these incidents. And keep it documented and recorded, so that when we have to talk about our gripe with our oppressor, we've got more hard evidence to put on display for the jury. And no matter how many times we bring out stories like what this sister had to go through and what she experienced, people are still going to have something to say to defend themselves. Because this isn't anything personal against, you know, little Tommy and Susie that, you know, isn't part of the mob, aren't the ones putting on blackface, burning down stores, letting young black males take the fall for the riots that they weren't even a part of. You know, during the whole Ferguson incident and what happened with George Floyd, all the riots that popped off and the protests, a lot of the lines that were crossed were not by our people. But you had what's the word? Not moles, rats. Damn. Say that again? Kind of. Almost scabs, but damn. But you had criminals planted into these peaceful protests and into these cities to help stir the pot and start these fires and throw those first rocks through the windows of these businesses. Man, that's not the first time that they've done this stuff either. You know, the LA riots, like that wasn't just you know, black people going crazy and you know, starting to set everything on fire and destroy all the neighborhoods. It you know, it wasn't that black and white. All right, Slack, you go ahead with the story.
Kaya Smith in an interview with Fox 5, also showing us, guys, the bruising in her eyes, on her forehead, her mouth. She says she was attacked around 6 in the morning yesterday. Police responding to the portion of the UDC campus by Connecticut Avenue and Wyndham Place Northwest. Now, Smith told police that she was walking alone on a campus pathway on her way to a workout with the women's basketball team when she noticed the man walking past the UDC tennis courts. Smith tells us she thought she was that person was headed toward the bus, but then felt a presence behind her, saying as she turned around, she was immediately attacked, strangled, and pushed to the ground. Her head then slammed into the ground multiple times. Guys, eventually her coach and teammates heard screaming. They called police and rushed to her aid.
I just want to say, just in this world right now, be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you know how to defend yourself, protect yourself. Because if it wasn't for me trying to swivel out of his chokehold, I would not be here. I feel like I was passing out and stuff. So just make sure you take classes and like take self-defense and make sure you don't end up in a situation that I ended up in.
Nakaya Smith in an interview with Fox 5.
Like, that was a random attack on a young woman in an atmosphere that you'd almost, as a father, you'd almost want to feel safe letting your child be alone in. They should have been able, because they fight and they, I mean, God, like the women, I don't want to say anything like I don't want to shame them for protesting, because these are some pretty serious life-threatening situations that they often find themselves in on college campuses. Like they got to have the blue phones for I don't know if they're technically called like the great phones, but primarily that's what they're set up there for when young women are walking through the campus late at night by themselves. They've got these phones lit up with the blue lights in case somebody was trying to assault them. And the majority of the interactions are how would I say sexually driven. It's not to rob them, it's not to mug them. It's to get their rocks off. Now, these are not the kind of things that our people do. Now, if that were to happen on like the north side of Milwaukee or something like that, okay. You might be able to convince me that might have been a brother who had attacked that sister. On a college campus, though, just historically, if we look at the past, I don't know, 50 years, let's go back. Who's the dominant predator on a college campus in America? It ain't us. Slacky?
White man.
A white man, yeah. It ain't us. We're not the ones walking around stalking women on campuses. If we're even allowed to go to any of these schools. It ain't us that's doing it, man.
Salaga, sir.
It's like good.
And then leave it to the Christian church. They will tell that sister that she has to forgive those people and love those people, even though they had all intentions on assaulting her and then possibly unaliving her.
Absolutely. And then what are the chances she's sitting right next to her assailant in that Christian church? Going to the same, you got to sit next to them in class, you got to sit next to them in church too. Those are the environments that these devils are in charge of. They're supposed to be regulating these kind of activities and enforcing these kind of safe zones. But again, there's a privileged population out there that doesn't really have to that isn't being held to the same level of justice as we would think everybody, is supposed to be getting held, and on paper is being held to in this country. And especially against an underprivileged class of people that are not just targeted, but when they are targeted, the complaints fall on deaf ears. But it's still ready, set, go. It's still, hey, all right, sister, shake it off, lift yourself up by the bootstraps, clean up your little cuts and bruises, and work harder. Work harder to not get assaulted on college campus. I don't know what more she can do outside of doing what's something that this next story that we're going to bring out too, outside of what this young man had done and still get blamed for. There's a case going on right now. There's a little bit more. I still got to do a little bit more research on it. This isn't the only story like this, even in our area, but there's a young lady, I believe it's a sister, who is currently locked up for unaliving the person that had abducted her and was trafficking her. She unalived him after all the abuse that she had suffered at his hands, and she got charged with first-degree murder, and she's locked up facing time for that. Prior to her defending herself and taking that man's life, he was on probation. He was being investigated. parole officer didn't do anything, didn't act on any of the allegations at that time. Let him, get away, do his thing, while she was his captive. So he's on probation. She is his captive. He gets investigated. Damn. All right, TikTok went out. He gets investigated for some shadiness and gets let go. That's the kind of world that we live in. Those are the kind of realities that we're facing. So when we're talking about what it's going to take, we're talking about how if this were left in our hands, we would be able to clean up these communities. We'd be able to safeguard these environments. And we would put, a record dent into the number of, overnight, a record dent into the number of missing persons in this country. Because the people who do run this, who are responsible, supposedly responsible for our protection, our safety, they've got all the resources available. They've got the suspects like already documented, recorded. They got jackets on, all of them. But because of some legal loopholes, they can't cross certain lines. You put that control back in our hands, we'll straighten this whole thing out. Like, they know where the drug houses are. They know where the drug manufacturing plants are. But you need to wait until the project set up shop before you step in on it. Like, what more is this sister supposed to do on a college campus that's supposed to be a safe place? Now, switching over to a different school, if we could pull up the other story with that brother. And it's like, you look on that first scripture that you brought up in Lamentations. What was that again? Lamentations chapter 4. Somebody get that one again, because that's going to apply again back to this young man too. It applies to this sister, because now she's going to be looking for justice and protection from a system that had already failed her. Maybe they just ain't got it in the budget. I understand that. I don't know how much money these college campuses make, but there we go. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 16. 17. Whoever gets that, read. Go ahead. Start giving the mic.
As for us, our eyes have yet failed. For our vain help in our watching, we have watched for a nation that cannot save us.
We can't rely on our oppressor to give us justice, to give us peace, to provide safety, to provide a means of. Oh, and Slovakia, South Dakota, saying that there was campus security. Coffee break? I don't know. But yeah, we can't rely on these devils to give us the peace of mind that our people, that everybody should be able to have. Again, though, the world should not look like this, whether you're an Israelite or not. Nobody should have to go through this kind of hell. Nobody should be subjected to this. But again, the people that are in charge, who got the resources and the means to do it, they on coffee break. They're shutting down the government. They're defunding and closing down whole departments. But this is who we're trying to make peace with. I don't know if anybody, understands that we are not that far removed from not just segregation, but and not just the slave trade in itself. That's not that long ago. But the civil rights era, the dogs, the water hoses, the stop and frisk. I mean that's still a modern thing. But the targeting, the hatred that these people had shown towards us, it was just more publicly demonstrated and socially acceptable 70 years ago. 70, 80, while we were segregated, it wasn't that bad. There were still definitely incidences like this happening, but they weren't going out of their way as much to come fuck with us until, some white girl yells rape. Tulsa, Oklahoma was more or less, everything was going good. Paradise in Michigan, Rosewood in Florida. The climate was relatively cool. And I think in all three of those incidences, it was some white girl that was crying wolf that got everything firebombed. And that's just, again, the nature of the beast. They're living off the dust of the earth. Like they have to live grimy to be successful here. It's like, well,
James 4, chapter 7 says, submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So a lot of stuff's happening because we ain't submitting to God. We're doing our own thing, own way, and it's not according to the Most High. So that's why I think a lot of stuff is happening to us like this because we're not being obedient. That's right.
It's like it's a microphone.
Yes, James chapter 4, verse 7.
Now, even before that, because that's a heavy point. I want to read up to that. Start at verse 1, because that damn near brings right to the point that you're talking about. Our disobedience, where our attention is. What's the scripture say about wherever your heart is, that's where your treasure is going to lie.
Right.
So that this kind of goes over that. Read it from verse 1, Baba.
James chapter 4, verse 1. From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence even of your lust that war in your members?
Now read that first part again. Read that first part again.
Verse 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you?
Now right there. We want to talk about where's all this black on black violence come from? Brown on brown, Hispanics, blacks, and the natives. All this war between not just interpersonal, like in our own family groups and tribes, if you want to say that, but that racial kind of tension in between us. Where is all this coming from? All of a sudden, because again, prior to certain initiatives by our oppressor to pit us against each other, just naturally, the climate, the atmosphere between us was pretty cool. Prior to the civil rights era, prior to integration, when we were still segregated, our communities, even though we had still experienced some rough patches, and it wasn't perfect, it wasn't a paradise, because even the tribal fighting between the Native Indians, even between, I guess, what would we call Hispanics prior to being labeled Hispanics? I guess we call them Native Indians also. I guess that'd be the Aztecs, the Olmecs, the Mayans, the Inca. They had wars and fighting amongst themselves too. I don't just from the history that I know about it. And maybe just the ability to have it publicized the way that it is now And again, our ability to track things and document and record them more and play them back is adding more of the is adding to more of the shock value. But even our wars back then, I don't think could even compare to some of the things that we're going through now, like Norteños and Sureños, the fucking MS-13s, the wars between the cartels, the Bloods and the Crips, GDs, Vice Lords, Latin Kings and MPs. The reservations, they never really had that those big of gangs like that to have all out wars and shit like that and blood in the streets the way that in the barrios in the hoods that we in the inner cities that we've experienced have had to go through. But they've certainly had their fair share of negative interactions with each other. But nothing to the tune of what we're experiencing now, right in our faces. So this verse, from whence come wars and fighting among you? How did we get to this point with each other? Keep reading.
Verse 2.
The second portion of verse 1. How did we get to this point?
Wars and fighting among you. Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members.
So yeah, so your own, and then that's the answer to it. It's kind of like how Captain Tazariak teaches. He'll answer your question by asking you a question. A lot of times it's kind of a rhetorical question. So come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members? Your need to accumulate resources because you feel that the last drop of water is going to evaporate because it's so goddamn hot where you live. Your need to be the dominant male, the alpha male in a room, when you walk in, so that your masculinity isn't threatened by the next brother who's also an alpha male, a dominant male, who maybe just wants to live at peace. But you think that, for whatever reason, you think that this is going to put your needs, your concerns on the back burner because there's somebody else who also needs to live and breathe. We don't hold enough value in each other and prioritizing your own lusts that war in your members. Your lust for not just money, not just sex, financial security, for kids to carry on your legacy, your lust for cool points, acceptance, approval, your lust for clothes, jewelry, houses, cars. Your carnality gets the best of you. Keep going. Verse 2.
Verse 2. James chapter 4, verse 2. Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain.
So there's kind of a contrast there with how the serpent was cursed. They're going to live off the dust of the ground, the dust of the earth. That's how they're going to survive. That's how they're going to conduct themselves. Now, when we end up doing kind of debasing ourselves and living by a similar manner, yeah, we lust and we have now. We got nothing to show for it. All the money that's in the hood and end up, some of the construction sites that I worked on, like where I'm thinking, all right, these cheap $30 Walmart boots, that's appropriate for the job. I've seen people come on there with $200 sneakers. We lust after some of these displays of success and false senses of security that we ain't got nothing to show for it at the end of the day. it just gets, you can't pay your goddamn phone bill, but you can. We put so much money into vain showmanship, and at the end of the day, we've got nothing. We got nothing to show for. We got nothing to live off. You end up having to sell them sneakers if they're still in good enough condition, I guess. End up selling them shits to get that food, to pay that phone bill. That was, 3 times your sneakers were 3 times that phone bill. You could have just paid that off and maybe not had the newest. I don't know, Rapai, you're a sneakerhead. What's the newest Jordans that are out right now? What's the latest version? He don't even know. He got them all. He doesn't even know right now. But that's how far they are. 12s? 4s? Yeah, that means nothing to me. I don't know if those are good or bad. I just know that Walmart got a new shipment of boots in. So I know that much. But all right, so read that verse again. It's like, ye lust and have not. We desire all this shit, all this vanity, but it's not going to sustain us. We can't live off of it. We have nothing to show for it as a result. Mismanaging our time and our money, and now we're feeling the stress and the pressure of it. It's like, you good?
Ye fight in war, ye have not because ye ask not.
Ye fight in war, ye have not because ye ask not. We are fighting. We're not fighting in our neighborhoods. We're not fighting to. We're not fighting our oppressor. We're not fighting to free our children from the border towns and in the cages that the ICE agents put them in. We're fighting to secure the plug, to secure popularity in the eyes of followers. It's not a very lucrative practice. And again, it's all stemming from our personal lust at war within our members. We're not living by the standard that, and it's such a kind of a weird concept to look at this book that's been thrown in our face and dragged through the mud for God knows how long, to see any validity in this based off of the people that have had it for so long, based off of what they've done with it. It almost discredits it on the surface, but when we actually read it and live by it, identify the audience that it's addressing here, and the step-by-step manual that it gives us to be successful, to overturn, to even understand how to battle our lust at war within our members, to defeat those challenges, it's still such a foreign concept to like to most people. Cool.
Quick question, sir. Could it be that in Isaiah 64:6 it says our righteousness is unclean? We think we're doing good, but we're not obeying the law, statutes, commandments. So that's probably a lot of probably occurring because our good is not good. You think being good is being house, smoking weed, you drinking bars, we're doing all this stuff, and it's still bad according to the law, statutes, commandments. That's why we suffer from our fake righteousness.
Absolutely, and I think that sentiment is echoed in Joshua, where he's talking about, as for me and my house.
Yeah.
If you think doing the right thing is bad, but doing the wrong thing is good, fine, Lord be with you. But as for me and my house, we're gonna stick to this regimen that we were given in the Bible. So yeah, I mean, go ahead.
In the book of Isaiah, it says stop doing wrong and learn to do what's right. So we don't know how to do right. We got to learn how to do right.
And what was written aforetime was written for our learning. So we've got the prescription recorded here. And we've read it. How many people have you heard say that I've read the Bible cover to cover? A million of them. And they can probably, recount more scriptures and pull more verses than I ever could. But are they applying them to their actual life in real time? When they're in the midst of smoking, weed and cigarettes and crack and engaging with prostitutes, are they applying those scriptures in those moments? Are they thinking about it then? Nah. Good.
I think it's because it was taught by the Edomites about they didn't really talk about ISUPK, how to really read the Bible. So you don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we were given Christianity by them. We were never given the Bible. We were given their interpretation. They abandoned their own culture to pick up ours to now tell us what it's supposed to be.
For their game.
Yeah, everything for their game. I mean that's why we got to tell people that the NIV is garbage. Because that'll omit whole verses. It'll distort the context of the passage. Damn near rewrites itself. And waters down and pretty much it poisons the well. And the scriptures that we have in the King James, the closest English translation that will get to the Hebrew and Greek records, left to itself with the proper understanding, I mean, we can't lose. We can't lose with it. From the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the New Testament. That's why when them small hats, they just focus on primarily just the Torah. They'll take the Tanakh into consideration, but they live by the Torah, supposedly, even though they put more emphasis on the oral law and the oral traditions that they ended up writing down and recording in the Talmud, saying that the Talmud is like the record of the oral traditions that they had established from, however made up thousands of years ago. They ended up building a fucking dynasty off of it, just by even some of the simple concepts of not dealing with other nations. They took that one to heart. Well, I guess we didn't have, and shame on us for not having an explicit verse that says, do not nibble off the tip of your 8-day-old son's private parts. Maybe that's our bad for not putting that in the Old Testament for them to review later on in life. So Salaki, I guess we'll have to work on some of this shit. I thought that was common sense for some people, but again, they living off the dust of the earth. They got to get it. They got to get it in shady ways, and their lust is different than ours. A lot of our lust is just for vanity. A lot of our lust is just for showmanship, for the glitz and the glamour of it, for the recognition. Their lusts are a little creepier. Their lusts, involved in those tunnels underneath the synagogues in New York, finding blood-stained mattresses and things like that. Like their lusts are a little bit weird. Where we're not just talking about being hungry for pork, and just because I know what the taste of bacon is like now I gotta live in the shadows to try to sneak some pulled pork every once in a while, praying that my brothers don't find out. Like that's that's even extreme for us. What these people are doing behind closed doors, it's crazy. And now sisters like this gotta suffer for it. Sisters like this is walking around the campus because these devils can't control their lusts, their desires to not just inflict pain, but exposing there's General Muhammad was kind of going over this recently with what do you call it? Hunters shit. But the high that our oppressor gets, like when they go hunting and they pop a deer for the first time, that interaction of taking, you know, a life, it pumps them full of adrenaline and endorphins, and they've got this like they're drunk off of that, those kind of interactions. Now some of these people are just targeting us for that chemical release, for the adrenaline, for the high. Their lusts are very different than ours. So who can make straight what the Lord had made crooked? You know, we're talking about a beast, an animal that when we emulate, now look at Diddy, look at Cosby, look at Tiger Woods, look at Jordan. Like when we emulate these people, we do not have the same success stories as Epstein. Like the empire that he had built, had his whole island for a long time. Like they were doing these dealings for the longest without ever getting popped, without ever getting investigated, no allegations followed up on, and like he's been in the game for a long time, and nothing happened. Like they didn't know where his island was this whole time. Like they didn't have plane records, and they didn't have all these travel, the itineraries and whatnot. They're very good at keeping records. I guess they're very good at losing records too. But when we try to emulate that, when we go against our culture and what you were describing in James, to live like for what? Like what are we trading this for? That's the part that, like, even when I look back, like at my time in the world, my ambitions were small. Maybe I was not that good of a criminal. Maybe I didn't want Scarface's life. I just wanted enough to get high and go to sleep with. But some of them will even argue. I remember Captain Tazarek had an argument with this one guy about like whose crime is worse, black people's or white people's crime. And he was arguing that black people's crime was worse because it's petty, it's violent, it's disorganized, it's chaotic, it's a small time, it's some punk shit. And Captain Tazariak, his rebuttal was, well, no, y'all worse because y'all have done way more. World War I, World War II, the Revolutionary War, that wasn't kicked off over like political disagreements. Like it started with like fights, controversy. It was they were committing crimes against each other. And whole white nations went to war over it. But again, the narrative that they're able to paint about it, because again, they are the victors, so they get they got the power behind the pen, and they can illustrate it however they want to and manipulate the narrative to it. But their crimes are on an international scale that involve entire countries. Like we've got wars between cartels and gangs and organized crime, syndicates and things like that. But they had Germany, Japan, and Italy against friggin' America, Europe, Canada. I can't remember all the allied nations, but there was a gang of them. Countries were involved. The whole militaries were involved. And then when we want to talk about their organized crime, because the dude was almost proud of that. like how sophisticated and neat and orderly it all was, and how it had shaped society to act more like them. So they're feeding off the story that, be more like John Gotti, be more like Al Capone, and be more like Frank Nitti and all those old gangsters who committed murders, prostitution, the drug trades. And they give themselves a pat on the back and points for just being organized about it, having books and bank accounts, and you're building a facade out of it that was able to go legit. Like the movie The Godfather, they built their empire off of criminal activities, but so far to the point where they were able to replace it with legitimate operations. In that sense, so it's who's doing worse. If when we're following our lusts, we do some dumb shit. I guess our lusts are just small time in comparison to these devils, because their lusts are to the moon and back. We don't care about the moon like that. It's up there. It's doing the moon is doing what moons do. It's hanging out in space. The light's reflecting off of it. We can have a chill night because of what the moon is up there doing, mooning around. Let it be. What the hell are we gonna do with it up there? Nothing. It's they need their lust, their ambition. They need to know what's on the bottom of the Mariana Trench. They've got to know about it. More water is at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. More water, more silt, more dirt, more rocks, more fish, more bugs. I'm not going fishing down there like that. We got some. I mean, albeit they're polluted now, but we got a lake right next door down the street. That's enough for us. Jacob, he was a simple man. He was a man of leisure. He liked to kick back. He wasn't worried with all this stuff. Esau, though, his ambition, it catapulted him to being one of the greatest hunters on the earth, and being gifted with the sword, being gifted with war. It's like, can onion?
Salakia, sir. They think they're gonna find the megalodon down there. They think
Right.
they're gonna find hollow earth down
Right.
there.
Right. Damn, what was that movie? Iron Sky or something like that, where Hitler, I guess, was alive, chilling with Tupac or something in the Earth's core, in the hollow earth. He had a T-Rex and shit that he was riding. Like that. That's got to be it, right? I wouldn't care. Kananya, what's that gonna do for you? If you were to find out that the earth is hollow, it's got its own separate sun, King Kong and them are, down there kicking.
So like now, we're gonna have to pay an arm and a leg or whatever. If it was that, they would overcharge us to or we wouldn't be able to go see it at all, because there's certain people that can so-called be astronauts and go
Right.
to the moon and stuff
Right.
like that. I don't know.
Right. Do you think that's going to change your quality of life here in Milwaukee?
Absolutely.
A little bit. I don't know what the hell it's. But again, that's our ambition versus theirs, and their ambition is to use our own people to kick us out of the country that they are the original undocumented illegal immigrants of, just to establish walls. And damn. What was the date of it? I think in the 1800s is when it started. 1840s, I think it was, when they had like the whole naturalization process to becoming a U.S. citizen was actually established in like the 1800s, when they started making. They were documenting immigrants prior to that, but there wasn't really any laws about illegal immigrants until about like the mid 18th century, I think, or 19th century, I think that would be. But they had already been here for hundreds of years, again, undocumented, wreaking havoc on everybody's life, just to turn around and try to kick us out of our own lands. And then gain a foothold in all these different countries and all, Central South America. It's never enough. It's never enough. Slocky?
Slocky, sir. Would that make Christopher Columbus undocumented? Because he came right off the shores and into a place where,
and he was a criminal at that. So he was an illegal immigrant and he was a criminal. Since they want to point that finger, that should be noticed. That should be on the table for discussion as well. If we're talking about who's right and who's wrong, who should stay and who should go, because off of that act alone, I mean that opened the doors for all the bullshit that we're experiencing now. And try as we might, we can't just shut it. They dug their hooks in. And again, they built an empire off of our blood, an empire off it, to the point where now they get to play the story, or they get to run the story back that they're the good guys and that they discovered this land and they brought civilization to it. And it's like South Dakota. It's like South Dakota saying a couple things. They think they're the masters of everything, that deserve to know everything. Yeah, but very ambitious. And he was a terrorist. Immediately developed a plan to enslave the native and send that back home to his people to work. Yeah, they called that good business. And then he was he was rewarded. Like, again, he was a criminal that was by his people, his government was sanctioned to take on this mission. Came back off of violence with cargo that proved to be profitable, was considered good business, and sent back to re-up. And fast forward 500 some odd years, and they've still got that system going. They're still engulfed in the slave trade. Their kingdom is still built off of blood. Let me get establish a city on iniquity. So I could paraphrase it. To the point where now this sister, she can't even walk around college campus without the threat of violence. Let's get that other story queued up with the brother, with his heroic act. Did it give his name?
Kind of one concept.
All right, that's what's up. We're gonna shout this brother out too. Now we still gotta wait to see the outcome, and we're waiting for more information on some of the details of this brother's story. And now the video that they got here too, I don't believe that that's exactly accurate to the incident in itself. So don't give that too much focus. But the story, what this young man had done, and the response that he was given, the brother should get support for his bravery and notoriety from his community. And instead of now having to deal with the backlash from, again, our oppressors' standard of how this should have been conducted. School's supposed to be safe. School is supposed to be safe. Now I understand, like, nothing new under the sun. But even when my mom was in school, my Edomite mother, when she was in school, she was like, the concept of a school shooter back then was like a completely foreign idea. It was unheard of, unimaginable. Nobody ever thought anybody would pull some shit like that because it wasn't happening. Kids weren't doing that. But now you've got so many, especially in their communities. We're not worried about that. There's other things that we got to worry about, but what's some of the schools around here? Oh damn, we were just talking about shit. Was it Pulaski? I don't know if Pius is still a thing. North Division, South Division. But some of these kind of rougher schools that are in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities, there's no real threat of a school shooting happening there. You might have some beef, though, with somebody, you know, from a different neighborhood, or it might be a family thing, or it might be a gang thing. You might have somebody waiting outside of school property to, you know, to shoot at you. But there's no real threat or incidences of school shooters having an active shooter at schools in our communities. But now you go to them suburbs, man. You go to those white cities, those white towns, and now all of a sudden that threat of a school shooter, like that's real. That's where it's happening at. Those are the areas that you got to start kind of stereotyping and profiling for those kind of incidents to go down. We've got issues in our community, but again, we're not dealing with that. Our, you know, all right, fights break out at our school site. I mean, you can't, I guess you can't, by that regard, definitionally, you can't necessarily say that our schools are any safer, I guess, so to speak. But they're not. There's no realistic expectation of somebody feeling of a brother or sister feeling so depressed that they're going to shoot the school up. You know, targeting innocent students, teachers. It's just not something that we do. Attacking young women on a college campus, that's just not something that we do. Even in a community college, you know, something local that you know only us chosen few get to go to. It doesn't happen. So just historically, that's not really prevalent around us. Like you look up.
So I was gonna say that the difference between our school and their school, when fights break out at our school, everybody still goes home. Maybe a few people get suspended, you know, maybe for a couple days or a week. When it comes to them, there are people that don't get to breathe again.
Yep.
Salakia.
Who never met that student a day in their life. Well, Sandy Hook, you know, those are some little kids that got targeted there. And now, even if Sandy Hook was a publicity stunt too, like I don't know the conspiracy theory behind that one, but supposedly Sandy Hook didn't even happen because they've got like this image of this white girl crying in the background in like 4 different locations or some shit like that. So I'm not exactly sure what some of those circumstances, but you know that famous one that really kind of sticks in everybody's mind, Columbine. You know, those kids they had some serious issues that stemmed from home. They brought their issues that from home into the school, and then because they weren't getting their ass kissed at school either. You couldn't reconcile not being, you know, popular or wanted, desirable, cool with the in crowd. You know, they blew a fuse. What his brother says, just a fad with us, but it's a kill. Yeah, absolutely. So Sioux Falls, Rapid City, like they experiencing the same things that we are. Again, our schools, man, it's not. We don't have the same concerns. Again, there's other issues that are on our plate that we go over in our communities, but it's not what this young brother had to face in you know, on a day when, you know, the highlight might have been maybe it was pizza day at the school. That was my thing at school, you know, when they had the pizza for lunch. That was a special thing for us. But you know, we weren't expecting any of this. Play the video.
Armed another student that came to school with a gun, and yet he's the one that got expelled. This is 11-year-old Sakir Everett of Michigan. Sakir attended the White Rich School of the Arts, and one day while
shout out to that brother. Clap it up for the young man Richardson, who threw himself into harm's way to protect the other innocent students at his school. Go ahead.
While at school, he spotted another student who had come with a firearm. Instead of him being scared and trying to run away, he sprang into action. He went over to the other student, he disarmed the weapon, he removed the bullets, and he did all of this in an act of bravery that might have averted a mass shooting. Unfortunately, though, do you want to know the outcome? Sakir was expelled for the rest of the school year. That reasoning was because he did not immediately report the incident to staff. Parents and even Sakir's own mother are absolutely astonished at the outcome of this. They say that he is being treated like a criminal himself instead of a hero. His own mother says that he's never even been in trouble before. He was just trying to protect his classmates. He didn't want to implicate himself, nor did he want to tell on the person that actually brought the firearm because he knows that firearms weren't supposed to be in school. Now, according to his mother, Sakir is an AB student who's, again, never been. This boy disarmed another student that came to school with a gun, and yet he's the one that got it.
You know what I'm saying? So, a young man who, I don't know what kind of drills they go through. Like, I know some schools, they actually have drills on what to do for an active shooter. I don't know if their schools had practiced any of those drills, but, this was an incident that fell in his lap. Not something that he had planned for, not something that he was prepared for. But he handled it with the best tools that he had within himself at that moment, on the spot. And the brother did something that, most people to their own admission, would not have done. You see an active shooter, you see somebody with a gun, man, you trying to book it out of there. You ain't trying to stick around for social studies after that. You need to worry about yourself and make sure that you go home at night. This young brother jumped on a grenade here, a ticking time bomb here. And he ends up getting expelled for his heroic act and selfless intervention that even that school shooter got saved too, because a lot of them, they pop themselves afterwards, or they looking for a standoff with the police, and then suicide by cop. So I mean, he just saved everybody's life there. Now he's getting reprimanded for not having reported it soon enough. Now again, this is still a child handling a very adult situation. And I think for his bravery, again, he should be applauded and not scrutinized on how he had, you know what I'm saying? For not reporting it soon enough, he gets, talk to him about it. Absolutely. Let him know, listen, the next time one of these white kids at your school comes with a gun, the minute you see it, report it right away. Maybe have that talk with him, but don't try to damage that boy's zeal and integrity by kicking him out of school.
Salaam, sir.
Good.
Young man O out of South Dakota just said something real heavy. He said, Salaki one. If he was a white man, he would have been held as a hero and been given the key to the city.
And that's the sad reality that we're living in. Sister can't walk around the campus without getting attacked. Brother can't stop a possible active shooter without getting held responsible and expelled from school for it. And again, that scripture that you brought up, Lamentations 4:17, it's vanity to think that we're going to get any kind of fair play or justice in this system by these people. The way that they live their life and how we're supposed to navigate that, it's not going to be by the same expectations that they hold for themselves. So when they talk about, everybody's got, the same starting point, equal opportunity. If I can do it, you can do it too. It's not realistic. It's not a realistic picture to paint of the landscape that we're dealing with. It's not a realistic expectation that the generations of families that had been destroyed, to expect them to You want to not just live by the law, but even respect the system that's telling them to respect the system that built their empire off of blood. Anybody got that scripture, by the way?
Kind of one
All right. That built their empire off of blood. To try to live right by their standards. Now we're supposed to follow the rules. Now we're supposed to again, we were commanded and instructed to live by the laws of the land anyway. So again, if we had just kept to the oath that our forefathers took with our power in the covenants, we would see a different outcome. But Salaki, let's get that scripture real quick.
Kind of one, sir. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
America needs to fall. Given their track record, and we can kind of I can't think of no word. I got all these cool words that I've been wanting to use that are just fucking nowhere now. We can kind of predict the trajectory in which America is going, the patterns, the trends, what they've done in the past, what the current atmosphere is like in this country, some of the plans that they have set up for the future. We can kind of see where all this is going, and it's going to lead to their destruction. All we got to do, and it's so simple. It's so simple. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so simple. All we got, listen, don't eat unclean foods. Don't go to the all-you-can-eat crab, special on Tuesdays. You don't need that. It's we got you got something better you can spend your money on, I'm sure, which should not be weed or cigarettes or mainly for the brothers out there, prostitution. It's strip clubs. As the brother said, America will be fine. Yeah, they're gonna be good. Plenty of losers like you have been saying this for decades. Yeah. Oh, this was towards us. Great. Nate the Gen. Is that America will be fine? Like you've been saying this for decades. Here we stand, and it's only been getting worse for decades. What the fuck are you talking about? It's been getting worse. You haven't been catching on to that, genius. You don't see where this shit's going. As many people has argued that say the economy is the best it's ever been. You got to equal some of them saying it's the worst. I don't personally give a shit about either side. Listen, it's fuck Trump. It was fuck Biden too, and Kamala when she stepped in. It was fuck Obama back then too. That's right. I'm not worried about whatever the hell issues y'all are gonna be facing, because it's not gonna befall me and my family no more. We're not going down with this sinking ship, my guy. America has been the same. It's just now polarized.
Salaki, sir.
Good.
This is the exact definition of when the scriptures say, thy pride have deceived thee. They that dwell in the cleft of the rock. This is a perfect example, because here, and I'm not sure if he's a devil or not, but I the vibe of this monster to say America will be just fine lets me know that he most likely is a devil. And to see that America is falling, most devils can feel the fall of America right now. And to say America will be just fine, keep that same energy when you see 200 million niggas crack the sky.
For real.
Keep that same energy and tone.
Yeah, you better commit to it. You better commit to it. And what your religious notice got? I don't know what you mean by that. Like we got this in the bag, and I know we got that much covered. And the nation of Israel, man, this country has no choice but to be destroyed. Not just by the actions of the past that fueled your inevitable demise, like the fires that y'all are playing with right now. That ego got y'all high as a kite, and the arrogance to think that you're gonna get a pass and just skate away with it unscathed, man, I'd like to be there to see the look on your face, is all I'm trying to say, when the shit hits the fan. So get your MREs and your fire starters and your camouflage and all your 5.56s, you know, stacked up. Yeah, I'm sure it was every federal guy your friend, totally not make believe. Why would you even be concerned with it? Listen. I'll be batshit crazy and believe in this guy that told us X, Y, and Z and prophesied your destruction while y'all are living in your destruction in real time. And we've got the instruction to stay the hell out of your mess.
That's right.
And watch the quality of our lives improve. So that's the plan. Stick to it. Conspiracy, why go mix with religious cultures? Wow. Listen, I understand. And it's going to be, you're going to be the laughing stock of the town when it's all said and done. There's not enough spray tan in the world that's going to, you know, get you out of the crosshairs and make you, that's going to try, you know, there's no integration. You're not going to be a wild olive branch adopted into the natural root. There's no way out of it for you guys. Right. So with that said, we'll pass the class over to Priest and Officer or Raphael. Yeah, clap it up. Yeah, South Dakota. I don't know why he tuned in. Just to hear the bad news. If somebody asked me to sit in on a KKK rally, I don't know. I wouldn't have done it. I don't care what they got to say. Why the hell am I going to stick around? Good. Oh, who do we got? Hey, listen, clap it up for Priest and Officer 2000. Come, y'all. Let's continue with the breakdown. Matthew is, you know, a strong brother who had a lot to say about I should say who did the due diligence to record, you know, our history and prescription on how to get out of this hell by the greatest man who had ever walked the face of this earth, that a revolutionary black man from the tribe of Judah, Yahushua Mashiach, not the, you know, little white baby Jesus that's been portrayed and been the demise of, you know, the whole world over at the hands of a little white baby Jesus. But how can you blame it? It's a little white baby. How can you blame a little white baby for crack cocaine? It's, you know, it's an impossible concept, and yet and still the white man is the goddamn dope about it. Right. I blame him when I stubbed my toe this morning on the goddamn coffee table. Go ahead.
We are the ISUPK coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for a new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After this 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 months, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21 and Malachi chapter 3 verses 8 through 10 means 10th. It means 10th in the Hebrew, ma'asharah. 10th of every penny the Lord gives give to the priestly, the give to treasury department or teacher, priestly fund, which is free will offering from peace, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Holy Convocation, which is December 14th, Sunday of this year. And if you are a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. That means black boots, black shirt, black headband or scarf. And with that, imagine, which means to stand. We gonna give a chorus salute to the teacher. Imagine Shabbat, imagine Barak, Yahaba Shimya Shabbat, Yazmatah. We gonna turn to face the sisters. Yazmatah. Sorry to the sister. Marching Bot. No. Curse of the salute to the teacher. Amajum, which means to stand. Amajum Shabbat. Amajum Barak. Yahal Shamar Daba Shimi Al Shah. Yazmatah. Glass to miss.
Ooh, 27 Club.
All right, gang, let's really nail it this time. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UPK ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UPK ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Florida Lee on my top, this a Saints hat. This the third can't be been in, he a J-Cat. Nigga tryna steal the sauce, yeah, I hate that. But I ain't make the rules, I can't change that. New bottle, new wine, yeah, I can't crack. Look, flag on the play, they grabbing face masks. Niggas always saving hoes where your cape at. The only killer that you know without no face tag. Hell yeah, my bitch bad, Proverbs 31, yeah. This is not a drill, I be 30'd up, yeah. He about to crack the sky, you better hurry up. It's all bad when you see us hang that jersey up. It's mad brick, I got the blick with my cover on. He a fed, he a op, got his cover blown.